So before we get going here, I want to tell you guys a couple things. So moving forward from here on out, tonight the prelims were on Fox Sports 2. From now on, they'll be on Fox Sports 1 from here on out. So like the first night that we went on air, there'll be 5 hours of fighting on Fox Sports 1 when we do these fight nights. And Vitor Belfort and Dan Henderson, they're fighting Saturday, November 9th in Brazil, and that fight will be on Fox Sports 1 too. The attendance tonight was 5950. The gate was 355 290. Fight of the night was Condit versus KAMPMANN. KO of the night was Thatch. On TV, I called him Thatcher. I apologize for that. And submission of the night is Zach Cummings. Everybody won 50 grand. Congrats to them. These guys will be here in a minute. Who's first?
Hey, Dana, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is it safe to say that you enjoyed this trip to Indiana more than you enjoyed 119 3 years ago?
Yeah.
That one, you came here and then you bailed out of the back. You didn't want to stay and hang out with us at all.
I forgot about that, yeah.
We didn't forget about that.
It's good to be here tonight. Yeah, no, it's a good night.
Can you give me your thoughts on Eric Perez? Obviously, a lot of hype on him going into the fight and kind of got taken down a peg.
Yeah, it happens. You never know. I mean, anything can happen on any given night.
And then obviously, conversely, you have someone like Thatch who's highly hyped coming in and then lives up to it. And I wonder kind of about your guys' thought processes behind the scenes when something like that goes your way versus when something like that doesn't go your way, like maybe like a Hector Lombard or something like that.
Well, there's never a goes our way or doesn't go our way. We're in the fight business, and we have 475 guys under contract. Whoever wins, wins. And he's the guy that moves forward. And believe me, I quit many, many years ago saying, oh, this guy's got to win and that guy's got to win. It doesn't work that way. Whoever wins, wins. And reality is better than anything you could ever dream up. So Thatch wins tonight. It looks impressive. People are buzzing about him. People are talking about him on Twitter. Tonight's his night.
And obviously, this is the one where you say, well, we'll figure that out later. But is that somebody that, since he didn't suffer any damage, obviously you put him back in there really quick and see what he can do?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He looked, and I was just telling Kelvin on the way in here, Kelvin looked awesome tonight too. Really good tonight.
And then Kelvin, I'll just move on to you really quickly. Obviously, you talked to us this week about the weight cut and being down at 170 for the first time. You seemed really comfortable to us, looking in from the outside with that weight cut. How much did that factor into you, during the fight, and how comfortable did you really feel as you got in there tonight?
I was working with nutrition guru, the master, Mike Dolce. But I felt good. I felt real relaxed. I felt like I really belonged there. I felt real good, real relaxed.
And obviously, being higher, on the Tough Show didn't affect you whatsoever. But is there a part of you ever that wishes you had made that move down sooner?
No, not at all. I mean, everything's been going as planned, and I'm here trying to do the best that I can.
And Darren, how badly did he have you hurt in the first round, and how much did you feel those kicks? And was there any point that panic set in and you started to think, what do I need to do to get out of this situation here?
Yeah, he hit me there maybe 3 or 4 times, and the first one really didn't affect me, but after like the third one, it was really starting to affect me. I was almost doing a crunch standing up, so I had a little bit of a panic mode. I kind of grabbed him up and did a little bit of grappling and kind of hung on there and tried to recover there. And when the second round came out, my breathing and everything was going better for me, and it worked out good.
Is there a part of you at all that wishes you could go back and take back that Mendes fight and not take that fight? I mean, I know you guys a lot of times will say, losing sometimes is good for me, but that sets you back a little bit.
I don't look at it as a setback. I had an opportunity to fight somebody that most people didn't want to fight. A lot of people didn't want to take that fight. And, I'm a guy that says, hey, I'll fight anybody that they give me, and they offered me the fight. I was healthy after the other fight. And I took it, and it was a good opportunity for me. If I beat Mendes, that would have put me right there in the title picture. But, instead I got knocked out. But, I learned from it, and I'm here, and I'm trying to get better each fight.
Yep. I like that. It's right. He's right.
Dana, Obviously, you have a couple of big welterweight fights in November, but where do you think the performance by KAMPMANN tonight puts him? He dominated a tough opponent. Do you think this puts him right back there for a title shot when the time comes?
Do you mean Condit?
Condit, yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Condit looked great tonight. You know, he's one of the best guys in the world. He's always exciting. He goes out to finish. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best in the world. So yeah, he's right there. He's going to be there. That makes sense?
I think so. I guess I'm just wondering, after, depending on what happens with GSP Hendricks, I mean, that could be a rematch, but would Condit then be possibly the natural next person to step up?
I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, he's one of the best in the world. He looked awesome in that Johnny Hendricks fight. He looked awesome in this fight here tonight. And again, he's another kid. I love his attitude. He's a finisher. He goes in there. He doesn't go in there to go 5 rounds. He goes in to finish you. So anything is possible.
Then Evelyn Rodriguez from Global.com Brazil. I just want to ask you your thoughts on Cerrone and Dos Anjos fight.
Yeah, it was a it was a good fight. A couple of tough guys, closely ranked, and it was a big win for him tonight.
And Rafael, I'm going to ask in Portuguese, sorry.
Okay.
Você pode falar um pouquinho? Na verdade, você não era favorito para essa luta e acabou que você conseguiu uma vitória muito importante hoje, talvez a mais importante da sua carreira. Você pode falar um pouquinho sobre o que estava passando na sua cabeça ali dentro do octógono e a importância do seu corner hoje?
Do me a favor, translate for yourself there.
Oh. I asked him about he was not really the favorite one for this fight tonight, and he had a big win. If he could talk about what was going through his mind, and also if he could explain as well the importance of his corner.
Yeah, he got a better position, the ranking than me, and that was a big chance for me to prove everyone that I'm a top contender, and I've been working hard for that. I don't want to lose the chance. I got the best corners in the world. I got a great team, and my thought was I can't miss this opportunity. I gotta beat this guy. Just one thing that I've been thinking.
Court, I was wondering if you could talk to us a little about the decision that came down, because it was really wacky. One judge thought you won every round, one judge thought you lost every round. How do you rate yourself on that fight?
Well, I was pretty surprised too, but it comes back to the thing you said after my last fight, Dana. You don't leave it in the hands of the judges. You try and come out and finish. You do the best you can do, and that's all you can do. And sometimes, it happens like that, but I was able to come out with the W and stick in it and grind it out and do the best I could do.
How bad is the eye right now? Is it damaged? Is there an orbital bone broken or anything?
Nope, just some stitches and swollen.
All right. Darren, I was wondering if you could talk to us about that reaction you got. It was one of the best all night long, and it was very early in the card. So how did that make you feel, and what's it like fighting in front of a hometown crowd like that?
It felt great, Obviously, when everybody's cheering for me, fighting in my home state, the adrenaline was flowing really heavily, and excited to see my friends, family, and just a crowd like that cheering for me.
So what's next after this? Do you want to keep fighting in Indianapolis like GSP always fights in Montreal?
I doubt it. I'm just ready to fight. I'm sure I'm going to be fighting in a lot of different places. So it was nice to fight back at home, but I'm willing to fight other places too, for sure. And as for next, I don't know. I just got done, fighting. I'm just going to sit down and rest a little bit, and hopefully I get another top opponent and put myself in the mix.
All right, Kelvin, you've won the Ultimate Fighter. You've won on a main card now, right here.
No.
And do you think you've shed the underdog thing now? You're going to have to be the favorite in fights going forward?
I really can't say. I don't know where everybody puts me in, in their, whether they pick me as a favorite or an underdog. I just know that I'm coming into this fight, into every fight, just thinking the same, that I'm going to knock him out or submit him.
Are you looking for a top 10 fight next, or do you think that's a little ways away yet?
I'll fight anybody, but it's up to to Dana and Joe. Obviously, I'm still new, and it's probably still a way.
All right.
Dana, you sound like you were very pleased with the quality of the fights. What did you think about the crowd, and put it in context? Does it help or hurt Indianapolis to host an event going forward?
No, it was great. I thought the crowd was great tonight. Very educated crowd. You know, you see when guys were going for submissions, they knew what was going on, and for the main event, the place was rocking. So it was great.
So you were pleased overall then?
Yeah, no, very happy. Yep.
Okay.
You know, we're going out. We faced this. I guess I'll call it a challenge now, going out on Wednesday nights as opposed to Saturday nights. But this is what our partner wants, and we'll make it work. You know, if we were here on a Saturday night, this is one of those markets where people will drive in from all different places, and they make a whole weekend of it. You guys know how the UFC works and how it goes. On a Wednesday night, nobody's driving anywhere on a Wednesday night, man. They got to go to work in the morning. So, you know, we'll figure this thing out.
Is another challenge with these Wednesday cards is like you've got another UFC card Saturday night in Milwaukee, which is really not that far from here. I mean,
right.
Some people may have said, "Oh, it's not driving to Indy. Maybe I'll drive to Milwaukee and stuff."
Right.
Is that another challenge with these Wednesday cards?
No, not really. I just didn't want to fly that far after this fight. I'm kidding. That's not why we did it. I'm kidding. I don't think so. We're there this weekend because it's the Harley-Davidson 110th anniversary, and you know, there's going to be a ton of people there for this weekend. So there's all kinds of things going on there, concerts and the UFC and Harley rides, and you know, it's going to be crazy. So yeah, we won't face any problems there.
Hey, Carlos, right in front of you here. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks.
I know you've had a chance to avenge the loss in the past. Does a win like that feel any different than a regular fight?
I don't know. I'm still processing it. So, you know, maybe ask me in a few days.
Martin came out very early on, kind of charged at you, takedown, looked like he wanted to keep the fight on the mat the whole time. Were you surprised that that's what he does? I mean, he's known more for his striking, although he is a good wrestler. Were you surprised with his game plan?
No, I wasn't surprised. I mean, you know, my last two fights, you know, I haven't been able to stop the takedown. And, you know, initially in this fight, you know, I wasn't either. But, you know, once we got going, I was able to stop more takedowns and start implementing my game.
Why were you suddenly able to stop him after the first round? I think he was 4 for 5 after that. Really struggled. What was the difference?
I don't know. Maybe I just got warmed up, or maybe he's getting tired. Couldn't tell you.
Quick one for Rafael. Is there someone you'd like to fight next after beating a top 6? I think Donald was ranked 6th. Who would you like to fight next?
Yeah, I have no idea right now. Whatever Dana said, I will be ready to fight.
For Kelvin, can you talk us a little bit through the finishing sequence? You heard him. A lot of times you see guys go for the ground and pound finish. You immediately went for the choke. What did you see there? Why that?
Yeah, you know, I noticed that I rocked him, and I didn't want to give him a chance to recover. You know, I hit. You know, you see a lot of guys, they hit him and they recover just off of the hit. You know, and I didn't want to give him that chance, and I saw the choke, I saw the opening, and took it.
Carlos, earlier this week, Martin was telling us how he needed to break out of his slow start streak. He'd had a couple slow starts in a row. Do you feel like he had an uncharacteristic fast start tonight, or did you have a slow start that surprised you?
You know, he got the takedown, and you know, he kind of took control initially. Yeah, I guess, you know, yeah, he started out fast, but you know, I kind of weathered the storm. You know, he didn't put me in really any trouble. I guess he took my back in the first, but I got through that, and then you know, obviously was able to turn the fight around.
Was there a point where you felt him slowing down at all, and where you felt yourself like, all right, this is really going in my direction now? I can start to take over.
Going into the second round, I don't know. I felt like I was coming alive, and so I would say the second round.
And then Martin, right down here. I was just asking Carlos, you know, you talked to us early this week about wanting to break out of your slow starts that you had the first two fights, and it appeared like you did that tonight. Was there a point where you felt the tide turning, where you felt things starting to go Carlos's way?
Yeah, I mean, I got the fast start I wanted and got off the bat, but I gassed myself out completely. After the first round, I didn't feel I had nothing left. I just went into survival mode. I felt I was just dead tired after that first round. I could feel Carlos kept pushing a strong pace, and you know, I wanted to keep pushing too, but I didn't have gas in the tank for it. And I've been working hard on my cardio, and I've been feeling great. So, you know, I was going hard 5 rounds in training, and you know, sometimes the adrenaline dump or whatever, but I didn't have the gas left after the first one.
And you feel like that's a direct result of wanting to come out much faster than you did the last 2 times?
If what?
Do you feel like that's like gassing out earlier than you wanted to was a direct result of wanting to come out faster this time?
I mean, the faster you start, the faster you're gonna get tired too, right? But you know, I wanted to come out and start good. I felt, you know, I did good the first round, and got the takedowns I wanted. I didn't get the finish I wanted, and I got tired and couldn't keep up with the pace he was going at. That's how he won.
Kelvin, Victor Balachova, Russian Chicago Magazine. What was your plan going into this fight? Just maybe because of the huge weight loss, you wanted to finish the fight earlier, or what's the original plan, or do you want to go on the distance?
No, me and my team, we came up with a game plan. I went in there and I executed it. You know, we're ready for wherever the fight went. I mean, I'm in great shape. I would have gone 15 minutes hard if it would have gone the 15 minutes. I just went in there and tried to mix it up, and you know, I got him with some good shots.
When we talked earlier this week, you were saying you were coming down from 205. Right now, after the fight, are you going to get back some weight, or like Mike Dolce saying, you're going to be into this lifestyle going forward?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I want to be ready if Joe or Dana calls. You know, in like 3 or 4 weeks, I want to stay ready and stay lean.
And the next one is for Court. What was the biggest problem that your opponent offered you that you couldn't overcome during the fight?
I mean, anytime I was backing up, he started landing punches. So, you know, that it's hard to push forward the whole time, but I tried to do the best, and that was our game plan, was just to angle and push forward and get him against the cage and rough him up, take him down. And, you know, it doesn't always happen the way you plan. You just have to adjust to, you know, whatever goes on in the cage. You can go through a lot of emotions, and you go through a lot of training. And, you know, I've been doing martial arts for 20 years, and things don't happen exactly the way you think they should, but you have to be able to adjust. And that's what I tried to do. I just know backing up, I didn't do as good as going forward.
And my last one for Martin. Martin, coming out from this fight, what would you do differently going into the next one? Is it going to be a difference in your preparation, or maybe just the pace of the fight, or maybe you just come out and pick your form at the wrong time?
I don't know. What's the last part you said?
Or maybe you just, you know, when you guys training, you come into a peak your form, but sometimes you don't time it wisely, and you kind of miss this peak, and you overtraining and you overexhausting yourself.
You know what? I felt great in training. I felt I was in great shape. I was going 5 hard, you know, killer pace in training. But you know, Carlos, he kept pushing a pace, and after that first round, I just got dead tired, and I couldn't keep up with the pace, and I was tired. I was really tired, and it doesn't feel good to get tired in a fight, especially when the other guy's pushing forward. But then you just got to dig deep and keep going and keep fighting. But you know, I felt that I was pretty damn tired. But you know, hats off to Carlos. He did a good job.
Darcy Paul from YCN. This is for Dano. Yeah, to me, you had 2 fighters, everybody who won did well, but 2 fighters would kind of stick out to me, Rafael and Calvin. In your mind, what are some matchups you're seeing for them coming off these performances?
I don't know. You know, I never like to make fights the night of the fight, but obviously, you know, he moved up today in the rankings. And then as far as him, you know, somebody asked him earlier about what's next. He had jump into the top 10. You know, the kid won the Ultimate Fighter, and he just won a fight here tonight. He's 21 years old. You know, I'm not saying we're not gonna give him a top-rated opponent. But you know, you got to let the kid get some fights under his belt, and we'll see what happens.
And no one's mentioned it yet. I thought I would. I saw on Twitter you had mentioned that in the Roger Bowling fight that you thought that it was not an illegal kick. It was a little hard from some angles on press row to see.
It literally was not illegal. It was not an illegal knee. That kid won the fight, and I want to pay him his win.
Carlos.
Second knee hit him in the shoulder.
Carlos, where do you feel you fit now into the title picture?
I think that, you know, I solidified myself as a contender. Yeah, I think that, you know, I'm still, you know, maybe a fight away from another title shot, I hope.
Darren, you talked about the pros of fighting so close to home. Are there any cons?
Yeah, I mean, obviously people are going to want tickets or want to hang out with you beforehand. And, you know, it's more of a, you know, a little bit more stressful in that reason. But, you know, I just kind of, you know, just shelter myself from that. You know, my wife helps me out with that. She takes care of a lot of things. And that's, you know, that's definitely a con. Everybody wants tickets, wants, you know, where to buy tickets or meet up with you before the fight or something like that.
Court. Got a question for you. You're in the same boat as Kelvin in the sense that you won tough at 185, you dropped to 170, you both won tonight. Is this a guy that's on your radar, or are you looking for somebody a little more established in the welterweight division?
I don't pick the fights. Joe does. Joe Silva does. And so when he calls, and you know, I just line him up and get ready and come out and do the best I can do.
All right, Kelvin, last question. What's the most useful thing you've learned from your tough coach, Chael Sonnen?
It'd probably be, you know, he tells me that for a fight, you can't worry about the outcome. You just have to worry about performing, and that's what I'm thinking coming into every fight. You know, I'm not thinking I'm going to win. I'm just thinking about performing and doing what I need to do to get the job done.
Carlos, congratulations on your victory. You talked about the takedowns you gave up against St. Pierre and Hendricks. They're obviously two pretty good takedown artists. Did you see that as a chink in your armor? Were you working on it a lot before this fight?
Yeah, I definitely was. You know, Martin is a very well-rounded fighter. He's a good striker, but he's also got good, you know, he's good all around. So I knew that was something I would have to, you know, work on quite a bit. I worked with Izzy Martinez, I worked with Ricky Lindell, and I worked with Jake Herbert, who was a 2012 Olympian on my wrestling. And you know, I was able to defend some takedowns, you know, that I most likely wouldn't have been able to, you know, had I not worked with those guys. So, you know, a lot of thanks, a lot of gratitude towards them.
And you're in a unique position, having fought St. Pierre and Hendricks. Can you share your thoughts on how you think their meeting in November will go?
You know, Hendricks, you know, he's obviously a very dangerous guy. He can end a fight with one punch. But I think George St. Pierre is too technical, and also, you know, Hendricks has shown that he fades towards the end of the third, or, you know, towards the third round, and now he's got 2 extra rounds to go. So, you know, I think George is gonna, you know, probably take control towards the end of the fight and you know, and come out on top.
Over here, just for Kelvin, could you over here upstairs? If you can to tell us about your performance tonight in Spanish.
What do you want to know?
Oh, about the submission, how you felt in the 170.
Okay. Me sentí muy bien entrando a la pelea, muy relajado y vea, todo gracias a Dios me fue bien.
Mike Deutsche told us that you might be able to fight in 155. Is that a possibility to something
No creo. Vamos a esperar a ver qué pasa. Estoy en una buena categoría en el peso welter y aquí me voy a quedar.
And just finally for Dana, that quick ending, is it possible that Kelvin could be added to the Houston show? I mean, there's a lot of Mexicans there.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, I think Houston's a little too close for him to fight again.
Thank you very much.
Carlos here. We talked with Coach Valle during the week. He told us to watch out for your pace. That was one of the things you worked in camp. How did you achieve this pace? How did you control it during the fight, just to not gas out and go hard for 4 rounds?
You know, it's all in the preparation. You know, I worked really hard. I have an incredible strength and conditioning regiment that I'm doing. You know, at a place called Elevate Performance Health and Wellness in Albuquerque. And you know, we're working. You know, they're incredible trainers, but we're also working with sports physiologists and really dialing in and fine tuning our training. And you know, I think that's really made a difference. And you know, we're training smarter as well as harder. And then you know, on top of that, I have just a great camp to get ready for these fights with. And you know, it all culminated in the win tonight.
And it looked to me that you were a little more cautious, a little more clinical, and just watching your space better, using the leg better just to give into your range. How did you apply this during the fight? Was it any different from the last fight?
Yeah, you know, range is very important, of course. And, you know, once I found my range, I was able to start landing. Yeah, you know, Martin KAMPMANN, he's a kickboxer, and so that's a comfortable range for me. You know, so some of the other guys, you know, the last 2 guys I fought, you know, they're wrestlers, and you know, they were able to close that distance. So yeah, you know, that's something that I still have to work on. Martin was able to close distance on me and take me down also, but yeah, you know, it's always a work in progress.
Carlos, did you feel any added pressure coming off the losses? Did you do anything different in your preparation for tonight's fight?
I trained harder. I trained more focused. You know, I didn't let that, you know, the thought of those last fights consume me, but I used you know, I used the mistakes that I made in those fights as teaching tools, and you know, and really, you know, I was really motivated to improve in those aspects of the game that, you know, I was lacking, basically.
Martin, I know you mentioned that you were exhausted after the first round, but did you feel that the lacerations that you suffered and the cuts that you suffered, did that affect you at all? I know that, you know, it was, you know, in your vision. Did that affect your vision at all, and did that play a factor during the course of the fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's never fun to get cut in a fight, but I'm kind of used to it. I kind of get cut every fight, you know. I cut real easy, but at least I make good scars. So, but, you know, I think, you know, just being exhausted was the main thing.
Dana, Darren started off uncharacteristically quick tonight. Do you feel that, you know, when you tell the fighters that you want them to see come out and, you know, immediately, you know, take charge of the fight, that's, you know, the bantamweight started off quick as well, that's resonating with some of the fighters like Darren who want to start off quickly and assert themselves during the fight?
It's not that I ever tell the fighters I want them to come out and start off, you know, doing this or that. I want guys to come out, and I'll give you a perfect example tonight is Bubba. When you know you lost the first 2 rounds and you go out in the 3rd round and there's no urgency whatsoever to win the fight, that's the kind of stuff that kind of drives me crazy. I don't ever tell guys how to fight. I just say, listen, you guys train hard. You're the best in the world. You're here at the UFC. Go out and perform tonight. That's what people are tuning in for. That's what people bought tickets for. And that's why people are here. People want to see you do what you do. And, you know, it's about performing. I don't ever tell guys to start off or do this or do that. It's just perform.
Darren, one more quick one for you. Do you feel like you're still flying under some people's radars? And if you do feel like that, what can you do besides, you know, just winning fights to change that?
I feel like I'm starting to come out of the radar a little bit, but I'm still a little bit under the radar. Obviously, I mean, tonight was more of an exciting fight, but I think, you know, I still got to work on finishing some fights. Obviously, you finish fights, you get more publicity, so I'm going to, you know, just keep working that. But Hayoki's a tough guy. You know, he's never been finished, so I was trying to push the pace and try to put it on him, but, you know, he's really technical, so it was hard to do that tonight.
Did you feel like there was a point where you were close to finishing him, or you were putting yourself in a position to maybe get there?
I felt like I had the third round. He was starting to gas, and I was starting to land some good ground and pound. But he has good wrist control, and I tried to pass his guard, and he got it right away. So I really don't think he was ever in danger of being finished. But I landed a lot more shots in the third round.
Then, can you let us know that your impression about Takeya Mizugaki's fight and his performance tonight?
Yeah, finally a Japanese guy got the right decision here. I seriously thought, I was like, if this kid gets robbed of this fight, this is going to be crazy. He looked good. I absolutely thought he won the fight, and I don't think it was a split decision.
I think that he is a very rare case of, as a Japanese fighter, he can make fireworks, against American or Brazilian fighter. How's the impression about his performance?
He can do what?
Fireworks. Japanese fighter always, making the distance and they don't like a fireworks exchange punch.
Yeah, no, he goes in, he mixes it up, he throws big shots. No, he's exciting. He's fun to watch. That was a fun fight. I was really hoping the kid wasn't going to get screwed because it looked like he was gonna.
Right. Thank you.
Manolo Menendez from Prensa Hispana. Dana, what do you think about Goyito Perez's performance tonight? Does it change any idea about him that you have?
About whose?
Goyito Perez.
Yeah. So what about it? What about his performance?
What do you think about his performance tonight?
Yeah, like I said, he went out against a tough kid who was coming after him, and I don't think the fight was as close as the judges had it. That's what happens. You never know. You never know when it's not going to be your night.
All right, thanks. And Carlos, in case that you are next in the title shot, is there any preference that you have, either by style or because you want a revenge or something on Pierre or Henriks?
Of course, I'd like to rematch, both guys. But I'm kind of leaning towards Johnny Hendricks just because our fight was so close. I came real close to a finish with George, so I don't know. It's a tough question, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Carlos, you've had a lot of signature wins in your career. You defended the WC title multiple times. You beat Nick for the interim title. Now you've won this main event on Fox Sports 1, the second ever card on Fox Sports 1. Where do you rank this in terms of your other fights?
It's up there. The opportunity to fight on the main event on a big card like this is always, it's awesome. And I performed. I'm happy with my performance tonight. And I can't really rest on my laurels. I got to keep moving forward, look towards the next fight, and look to see what I have to do to improve.
And you told us in the media workout on Monday that you felt that 5 rounds was playing to your favor. It seemed like it went that way. Fourth round, you had a lot of energy left. Was that your impression as well?
Yeah, I did have a lot of energy, and yeah, I mean, I've been in those championship rounds, a couple times in my career, and endurance has always been a tool and a weapon for me. I have good endurance, and as good as a guy is, when they get tired, that sucks.
Yeah, but that's the question, of course, is you get that GSP rematch, are you going to be able to tire him out?
We'll see. All
right. And Martin, how many stitches did it take to close up that cut?
I don't know. I didn't count. But I'm sure I got a few.
How are you feeling overall?
I'm more than anything, I'm disappointed. I felt I could go in and get a win against Carlos, but tonight he was the better man, and congrats to him. I'm just disappointed.
What about a rubber match? Would you like to do it one more time?
Sure.
Dana, is that going to happen?
Not right now.
But I mean, in the future, obviously. But
sure, in the future, like 3 years from now, we're going to make that fight.
All right, every 4 years we get that fight. That's not a bad deal.
Question for Carlos Condit. Carlos, did you feel any tension in your dressing room after your teammates lost three fights tonight?
No, not really. You know what? like we train as a team, but this is an individual sport. You know, your teammates win sometimes, they lose sometimes. That doesn't matter. You got to focus on what you came to do, your task, and you know, I in the back of my mind, I didn't want to make it 0-4 for the Jacksons camp. So, you know, the thought came to mind, but you know, it's an individual sport, honestly.
And question for Dana White: what do you think about Dylan Andrews tonight and his performance? He lost 2 rounds, and in the 3rd round he came out with an injury, and he came out so great.
He came out so what?
So good, so great. He knocks Papi Abedi out.
Yeah, about knocking him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he looked horrible the entire fight until he knocked him out.
But he was injured, so what do you think about him as a fighter, you know, about his performance?
It's a weird situation. He had a horrible night, yet he had a great night. You know, he looked like shit. Then he gets the knockout. That's kind of weird, huh? But that's how it works sometimes.
Thank you.
This is for Dana. Hatsuya Aoki, it wasn't long ago, you know, when he came in, we were talking Jose Aldo, potential title fight. The kid's lost, 3 straight, but they've been really close fights, and he hasn't looked bad. He's just lost.
Right.
You know, usually 3 is the magic number. So, where do you, look at where does Aoki stand in your opinion?
Well, he had a good night tonight, you know, and we were just saying that a minute ago. He's a really tough guy, and he was in a really tough fight tonight with another tough kid, and he finally got the win. I'm just happy that it worked out for him, because for some reason, you know, a lot of the Japanese guys don't get the best decisions in the UFC for some reason, and he got it tonight, and he deserved it. I don't think it was as close as the judges had it. I had him winning the fight, and I didn't have it a split decision.
I was talking not Mizugaki.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's
okay.
all right. You know, so yeah, I just want to know what where you place him now, even though those are really tough fights he's had with Lamas, Guida, and now Darren. Where does he stand?
Well, it's never good when you lose 3. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's a tough guy, and normally you'll see with a lot of guys who come and bring it and fight. Well, you normally don't, you don't fight a couple fights and get cut when you really do come and fight. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And then one for Carlos. I know every fight's important, but you seem to really embrace the urgency of this particular fight. You know, in the pre-fights, talking about do or die. You know, the bigger picture. You know, how did that motivate you going into this camp and knowing what was on the line in this fight?
You know, I didn't want three losses in a row, and then I definitely didn't want, you know, two losses to Martin. You know, the first fight was really close, and you know, I didn't want it to be close. I wanted to come out and make a statement, and yeah, in preparation, that was a big I don't know, a big motivation for me, and it went well, you know. It was my night.
For Kelvin, it's interesting seeing you up here doing so well. 11 days ago, a man you're going to be linked with for a very long time, Uriah Hall, didn't do very well. I know you train with him now. Do you have any idea why he's having such a tough time in the UFC?
I have no idea. You know, I've trained with him. He performs great in practice. He's kicking everybody's ass, and I have no idea what happened in his fight.
Did you talk to him afterwards?
I sent him a text, but and he wished me good luck for my fight. Other than that, I haven't talked to him.
Do you think he's lacking some kind of killer instinct? Do you think he's missing something when he goes in there?
Yeah, most likely. You know, it's mental, definitely. You know, he's got to find that, make that switch. You know, to go into that cage.
Martin, in discussing just running out of gas so early, is that something that you've ever experienced before in a fight?
I mean, I've gotten tired in a lot of fights before, but you know, that's what happens when you're fighting, you know, and then trying to go in there and get the, you know, going hard. You know, I think we kept a pretty high pace the whole fight, and that gets you tired. But yeah, I definitely felt I was tired, and especially in the 4th round, and Carlos got me with something to the body, and that took the last gas out of me.
And Carlos, obviously he was still fighting back the whole time. I mean, could you tell that he was as tired as he says he was now? Could you sense that as you were fighting?
Yes, I mean something was up. Yeah, I actually, to be honest, going into the second, yeah, he looked tired. He did.
We'll do one more.
One question for you, Dana.
Go ahead, buddy.
One word to describe tonight.
One word. I'm happy with tonight. It's great fights. A lot of young up-and-coming talent look good tonight, and a lot of veterans look good tonight. So it was a great night. Very happy. Crowd was great. Place was great. A lot better than last time. Thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate it. Have a good night.